Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our brand new show, Amplifying Voices. And my name is Dr. Deborah Jenkins. I am your host for Amplifying Voices, and I am so delighted and so pleased to have with me one of my mentors in the person of Dr. LaVerne Hall. I am so excited for her to be my very first guest, and it is my hope that as this airs on Sable Network TV, Dr. Hall will also produce a show on Sable Network TV in the future. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let me welcome Dr. LaVerne Hall. Welcome, Dr. Hall, to Amplifying Voices.
Well, thank you so very, very much for having me on the show. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Tell us a little bit about you, Dr. Hall.
Well, let me share a little bit about me, and you may have to stop me because sometimes I get a little carried away because I don't talk about myself often. Of course, you know that I am not a young person. I guess it really dawned on me not too long ago when I was called an elder, and it surprised me. I said, "Oh, I guess maybe I am an elder."
In a good way, in a very good way.
But I enjoy it. And not too long ago, I had to preach a funeral, and it was a group of young people in their mid-40s. And so I said to them, I am going to tell you how it is I want you to leave this church. And I want you to do exactly what I say. Because there's certain things I want you to carry with you when you leave here. I want you to know more about your relationship with yourself, more about your relationship with God, more about your relationship with the deceased, who you say was one of your best friends. And so each of you can write the end of the story for yourself, suited to you, because you had a particular relationship with him. So I want you to walk out of here knowing how to celebrate his life every day, because he was a living proverb, just like you. And so I'm going to tell you how to do that. And I can do it because I am a mother, I am a grandmother, I am a great-grandmother, and I am a great-great-grandmother. Wow. So I believe that I have earned the right to tell you what I want you to do and when I want you to do it. And then I said, and some of you mathematicians out there, figure it out. I am less than 20 years, if God so desires, to be 100 years old.
Wow.
And so,
wow, that's awesome.
It sounds, I couldn't really believe that myself, but it just came to me as I was there in that pulpit. And so I have seen and I have lived a lot of life, and have not always known that I was in constant prayer with my God. But after all of these years and after thinking my life through, I realized that my every breath was indeed and is a prayer. And I say that in particular because I've been married twice. And my first husband died 1 month short of his 33rd birthday. And when he died, he had been sick for close to 5 years, although it felt like a lifetime. And in fact, it was a lifetime. It was his lifetime.
Sure.
And he had a Lou Gehrig's disease. If anybody knows anything about Lou Gehrig's disease, they call it ALS.
Yeah.
And we had 2 little boys. And I don't recall ever really saying my prayers or praying.
Mhm.
And maybe my memory fails me because there's some things I don't remember about that experience. But I think that if I had prayed openly, I would have remembered doing that.
Sure.
But there were so many things that happened to our little family that I know had to have come from God. And there were times, I was little bitty lady with 2 little babies, and he was there in the house sick, couldn't move, couldn't do anything. And sometimes there would be a knock on the door at night, and there I would just go to the door and open the door. And anybody could have been out there, but there would be a stranger standing there, a man with a box full of food, some clothes that would fit my children, and an envelope with money in it, because there were times that I did not have any money. And I had not prayed for anything. So there had to have been divine intercession. And so, and of course, there were times when just being there in the house, not being able to get out of the house, only to empty the garbage for weeks on weeks. And if somebody had just kind of touched me on the shoulder, I would have gone berserk. But it was only by the grace of God that I did not, and that I am here today to relate that story. And I don't mind talking about it because I don't talk about it enough, but the more that I do, and whenever I do, I'm able to learn a little bit more about me and about divine intercession. And as I said, he was just 1 month short of his 33rd birthday. And the welfare system really kind of taught us, and you can close your ears if you don't want to hear this part of it, but it taught us how to, and I imagine they still do it to this day, teach people how to lie, cheat, and steal, because they give you, in fact, they only gave us less than $200 to live on for 2 little babies, a dying husband. We had just started buying a house. We had the blue station wagon, Ford station wagon. And I couldn't work because I was taking care of my husband and the family. And they said, if anybody gives you anything, any clothing for the kids, if anybody gives you a penny, you have to tell us, and we will deduct that from your $194 a month. Okay. Or, why don't you consider divorcing your husband? That way you won't have to worry about him. And so, and the system, I really don't believe has changed very much at all. Maybe it has, I don't know.
Wow.
But I was very fortunate in that perhaps God wasn't through with me yet. Mm-hmm. And there was that divine intercession. And that's the only thing that I can contribute to my children and myself being able to live beyond that period of time. And my children are now in their 60s, okay?
Wow.
And so
Praise God.
And they're, I call them kids, but they're good people, you know?
Yeah.
But I can tell in some instances how that experience affected them. Okay.
Of course.
When I remarried after my husband had died, and I remarried later, and this husband, that marriage lasted probably, oh my goodness gracious, let's see, 7 or 8 years, I can't remember. But we had a child together, and he was diabetic. And so he became ill, and he passed away of diabetic complications. Wow. And so I remember the night that he passed away, he went into a diabetic coma. And I had to call the medics to come to the house. And so they said to me, if this had been a few years earlier, they would have pronounced him dead when they arrived. But they were able to get his heart beating and get him up to emergency, but he never came out of the coma. And he was in the coma for probably a little more than a month or thereabouts, okay? And so my 2 boys from the earlier marriage, because my daughter and I were going to the hospital 2 and 3 times a day. And so one of my boys said to me, Mom, I cannot go through this again. They went to the hospital once or twice, and then they said, we just can't do it again. We can't go through this again. And so my second husband did pass away after about a month and a half of being in the coma. And so again, I don't remember, I just cannot remember physically praying. I don't. And so there had to have been, again, divine intercession. And if I had prayed, I don't believe that my prayers would have been, quote, strong enough. I just don't remember certain parts of my life relative to those 2 experiences. Yeah.
That's incredible that you suffered so much loss and the impact that both fathers' losses had on your sons, you know. And I can only imagine how they have gone through life to get into their 60s now, and how they deal with life and death in their own unique ways. But I'm zeroing in on the fact that you don't necessarily recall praying, but you acknowledge that there was divine intercession, that God saw your need and met it. And at some point you began, I'm assuming, and you can share better, that you began to remember your prayers and count them and see God's actual movement in your life to get you to where you are now and all the work that you're continuing to do now. Tell us about your experience beyond those sad moments, those incredibly sad moments in your personal life, losing 2 husbands, how you came to this place of being a praying woman and your faith being strong.
Well, you know, it's a matter of, I've always enjoyed history, and I've always enjoyed family. And there's really something to that song, Somebody Prayed for Me. And so I know that there had to have been that intercession as well. And so as I began to think about my life and put it into perspective, it was like, I kept having these, quote, fights with God. I said, I know that there is something that you want me to do, but I don't know what it is. God, you have got to help. I was saying these words out loud. God, what is it? It was like we were going back and forth because I was trying to figure this thing out. And I had conversations with my sisters. I had conversations with other people. It's really getting me down, I would say to them. There has to be something that God wants me to do with my life. And God, you've got to tell me what it is. But God wasn't telling me. God wasn't telling me. Now, I know that I've come to know that I am a visionary. I have come to appreciate who I am, again, based on conversations with my family. And so I was in bed one night, and it came to me again, God, what is it that you want me to do? I'm just fatigued. I'm tired. I have come to accept who it is you have made me. I have come to accept the talents that you have given me, but you are not helping me by not telling me how you want me to use what you have given me. And I can remember it just as vividly. It was just so vivid. And so I just finally said, you know what, God? I am sick and tired of fighting with you, and I'm not going to fight anymore. Here I am. Just use me. I don't care, God. Just do whatever it is you want with my life. I accept it. This is who I am, and here I am. I surrender. Use me. And to me, that was a prayer. That was a prayer, in essence. I stopped saying, what do you want me to do? Tell me what you want me to do. I changed the prayer to more of a statement prayer. Here I am, use me. And in essence, it was, in another language, I surrender all. And I like to compare it to that song that we learned as a child, the Hokey Pokey. You put your head in, you take your head out, you put your head in and you shake it all around. You do the hokey pokey, da, 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 and that's what it's all about. Then you put your hand in, so that's what I kind of compared that to in surrendering it all. And when I did that night, God still didn't verbally say, this is what I want you to do. But it seemed like things just started to happen for me. I had the experience of a little child shall leave them. And I began working. I did a paper doll that sold all over. Actually, the paper doll got to Africa before I got to Africa. And that was and became a national movement. And from that experience, so many things happened. And then later, when I'm kind of getting my dates mixed up, and I think that I have the right to do that. Again, I always say, because of my age, I have the right to do anything I want. So
absolutely correct. Absolutely.
But I had, I think that I had already accepted my call. I had already accepted my calling when I started the Paper Doll Experience, which evolved into a magazine and, you know, meeting people all over the world. And I still have many of those friends today. And that's where the idea came from, to put an original Sojourner Truth book, doll, on the books that I do, reaching back and because what I have come to believe and know is that your calling is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, and your calling is your prayer. It's all, it's one. It's one. You cannot divide it up into sections. And so every breath, every word that you utter is in essence a prayer. And so after I struggled through
Dr. Hall is frozen.
the dissertation, which yeah, it is. I see.
Dr. Hall, you're breaking up. Oh no.
All right.
I can hear
How is
you.
that?
Now I can hear you, but you're not, your screen is frozen, but I can hear you.
You can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. So, I was sharing with you about my doctoral dissertation was wrapped around Sojourner Truth. And the thesis question was, I don't know what this is. Hmm.
Dr. Hall, are you there? You can, if you can speak, I don't know what the video is doing. The video has you frozen.
So I'll just keep talking.
That's good. Oh no, now I can't hear her. This is such a great part of her story about her dissertation. I'm willing to just sit here and wait for technology to work properly. I'm going to keep rolling in hopes that Dr. Hall will rejoin us because I don't want that part of her interview to be left out. Here she is. Let me invite her back in. These things happen sometimes with technology, and we just cannot even control it. Hi, are you there? Dr. Hall? There you are. Dr. Hall?
Yes.
There you are. Your voice is very clear. The video is still pretending to not want to work. But there you are. There you are.
Okay. So I believe that I was sharing about my doctoral dissertation,
Yes.
which I completed in my mid-70s. Okay. And it was wrapped around the anatomy of Sojourner Truth's spiritual conversion. And the thesis question was, are African American Baptist clergy women called to preach? And of course, the seminary didn't want me to do that, but my advisor said, yes, she will do it. And my reason for that is because since I had been licensed in 1989, I became ordained in 1998. And during that period of time, I experienced more adverse attention, quote, than positive encouragement, etc., from not only men, but women, primarily women, because the young woman that I asked if she would be my mentor, she flat out said no. I didn't ask her why, because she was entitled to whatever she wanted, you know. And so during those years, I began to question whether or not I was called to preach. I questioned myself and I questioned God. So I wanted to do that dissertation and answer that question through the narrative of Sojourner Truth, because everything that she went through as a slave, as a woman that people called ugly, and she couldn't speak proper English. I mean, her first language was Dutch, and she spoke a broken English. But in spite of all the stuff that she went through, she was still able to see Jesus in her communication model. She was still able not only to see Jesus, but to hear Jesus. And so I was answering that question primarily for myself. And so we know that the answer is yes, but I learned so much about LaVerne and what it is, and a direction for me. And also realizing that I am not and was not the only woman having those kinds of experiences as a woman minister. And so that's how, and so that had to, after I received, quote, the doctorate, there was still the question that I was asked by the advisors, now what are you going to do? And so I had to sit on that for a few years, 2 or 3 years, and decide or wait for some divine intercession and intervention to let me know what it is I am to do. And that's how celebrating women, I'd already started celebrating women in ministry because I needed that support. But that's how do I do that with social media and share experiences and celebrate other women who are going through bad stuff. okay, and encourage them. And that has proven to be just the most, I wouldn't say interesting, but yes, interesting, but inspirational experience. And writing the books, including other women clergy in the book, and just lifting women up, and encouraging them without saying, oh, I know you've had some bad experiences, so let me encourage you. You know, you
Right.
don't do that.
Right.
But I think it was in 2019, I did the first book of that encouraged women. And then I started with the clergy stole in this year, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And had the stole to travel all over the country with women wearing the stole. And thank you for wearing the stole.
Oh, my honor.
Yes.
My honor.
And so we have some plans for the stole coming up. And so that's, where God has led me to, and it's like we pray this prayer of Jabez, okay? And so I kind of go back to that because it has a really a deeper meaning for me, a very deep meaning for me. It talks about the pain, but it also talks about enlarging my territory. And I take that to mean for me that God is enlarging my territory emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, and not necessarily geographically, but that has happened as well. Yeah. But the most important thing and the critical thing is that I am being enlarged as a person in Jesus Christ. The way that I think, the spiritual language, so to speak, in that every single word that we utter has a spiritual meaning, every word. Yes. But we just have to take a minute and interrogate that word. And so it's that within our personal, I call it a communication model, or your sphere of influence, the people that are and all of the stuff that's there. If we don't know how to navigate through all of that stuff, then there's that communication breakdown. And so while you, Dr. Jenkins, may be speaking on one level to somebody, you may be speaking on a spiritual level, but you're using the same words that they are accepting on a earthly level.
Yeah. Yes.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I get it. Yep.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. And so that's just kind of the story of my life. And while I do pray now that God keep me and continue to use me in a mighty way. And it's all about encouraging women to accept who it is God has created them to be and not be afraid to stand on the pew, yes. So to speak. Yeah. To stand on the pew and not, the other thing that I believe is that my ancestors have had, they did their time, okay? And I do not, and I cannot see myself standing on their shoulders because their backs were already bent and broken. So I can't see me standing on their shoulders. I see them standing on my shoulders, whispering in my ear, I see them at my back, pushing me and poking me and prodding me and lifting me up.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because their aborted dreams and inspirations need to be given birth to. Because I know that what it is I do, it's only because of what you do, but I can only do that. It's not me doing it. It's my ancestors pushing their dreams and their aspirations through me by the grace of God. Because they are up there at the right hand of God. And so they and God working together, they can do the pushing and the poking and the prodding and the whispering, the piercing of the ears, whisper in my ear, which is really piercing my ears with all of that good stuff.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And
That's
so
beautiful.
I enjoy very, very much what I am doing. And I see God every day working in me and through me. And God has allowed me to look at my family, because I had this thing as well, trying to figure out, why do I say the things that I say? How do I say the things that I say? And where do my mannerisms and my actions, where does all of that come from? So I actually did, because of the research that I did on Sojourner Truth, I actually used that model to go back in time and look at my ancestors as far back as I could go, and remember the stories that I was told and how they acted and what they did. So I have been able to pinpoint why I talk the way I do, why I act the way that I do. I know exactly where it came from.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it just so happened that I am so much like my dad, who was so much like his mother, whom I knew. And so that's really who I am. I talk like her, I act like her. And she is actually the one who was in the room with my mom and my dad when I was born. And she was the first one to hold me, my parents told me. And as she held me, this is what happened, I believe. They told me that she held me, and she said to whoever was there in the room, my mom and dad and whoever, that I was the most beautiful little Black gal that she had ever seen before in her life. And I believe that she blessed me at that point, that she and God blessed me and sent me out on my way. Yeah. Wow. 84 years ago. That's the meaning that I put to that.
Beautiful, beautiful. And why wouldn't you? Because you're a deep thinker, and you've considered every aspect of living. And that's something that many of us don't do, Dr. Hall. So I'm so pleased that you've opened up a window for me to peer into, to go back and think about certain things in a different way than perhaps I never would have given myself permission to do before you shared your story just now about being so much like your dad, who was so much like his mom, and she being the first to hold you. And then she pronounced this blessing over you that has to this day propelled you forward, and you're doing such great work. You're an inspiration, not only to people like me who see you as a mentor, and you are, but also to other women perhaps in your age group, that God is not through with them, that God can begin a brand new thing, even in the latter years. And even as you opened up talking about the funeral and how you spoke to the young people and gave them this charge to write the end of the story, unlike why they were there gathered, but what would it have been? What would he have meant, or she would have meant to them had they continued on? But what does life mean to them? And I think you've just given me, if not the rest of the audience, permission to continue to write with the guidance of the Lord. And I really appreciate that, because so often we allow ourselves to stay within this confinement that the world has prescribed for us. But you, and that's why I'm so drawn to you and your work, you give each and every one, and when I say she has impacted and continues to impact so many lives of specifically Christian Black clergy women, you give us the ability to just be who we are. You know, as my elder and one I see as a mentor, I've at least on no less than 2 occasions said, you know, I'm so glad that you were okay with what I said, you know, because I respect you highly. And it's important to make sure that when you call or you put the title of mentor on someone, you don't deliberately do anything to sully that for them. You know, you want to be able to honor, and that's how much I honor your presence in my life, Dr. Hall. And I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. And so this time with you has been invaluable to me, and I cannot wait to do it again with you. Let me give you parting words for tonight, and we will see you very soon. Dr. Hall.
My parting word to you and to the audience is this. What you do every day, you know what a proverb is?
Yes.
There's P-R-O, which is positive, or what, you know, it's, yeah. And then there's verb, and a verb is an action word. So if we look upon our lives, the things that we do every day as a proverb, something that's somebody can take, even if it's a negative experience, can take that action of yours, or you can take somebody else's action and convert it or transform it into a proverb. We live our lives as proverbs. We are living proverbs. Everything that we do is a proverb. And we are a chapter in the book. We are proverbs.
Yes.
And so if we just remember that whatever it is we do will affect somebody, but and what you see other people doing will affect you, but it is up to you to turn it into a proverb.
I love it. I love that. And I hadn't thought about it in that manner, but I will from this day forward. This has been Dr. Deborah Jenkins with Amplifying Voices, presenting and introducing with my very special guest, Reverend Dr. LaVerne Hall. God bless you all, and join us again here at the Sable Network TV. Become a subscriber if you're not already, and tell someone else about the network that they too might become subscribers. God bless you, Dr. Hall. We'll see you all again very soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.